We're going to talk about this opening Queen's Gambit decline today, and I will be showing you one of my games played at the US Championship in 2008 against Grandmaster Dmitry Gurevich, and I will also talk about some lines in this opening. So I played d4, d5, so I played knight f6. And I usually, sometimes black plays bishop e7 here. This is a very interesting move. The idea behind this move is to prevent white from playing bishop g5 immediately. And for example, if you go knight f6, I took. My opponent, Gurevich, actually took with a knight, which is considered kind of a rare move, but still played. Even many grandmasters play this knight takes d5 move. So you really have to know what to do there to be able to get some advantage. But basically, usually black takes back with a pawn, and then you play bishop g5. And in this position, white has the option in the main line to play knight g2 move. And this is what I like to play. I like to put the knight on e2 here instead of just knight f3, because if you play knight e2, knight bd7, queen c2, rook e8, this is not my game, this is just a line. Here you have this idea to play f3 and e4. And it's a little bit different actually. Usually in this kind of structures, the structure is called Carlsbad. White usually tries to play rook b1 and play b4, b5. Do a minority attack. But when you put the knight on e2, you have the idea of playing f3, 4, which I prefer here. So I think white is usually slightly better in this kind of positions here. But this is what I was planning to play when he played knight f6, but he immediately avoided by playing knight takes d5. Okay, let's see. Maybe just 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so we take, yeah. So he played knight takes d5, e4, knight takes c3, pawn takes c3. And here, usually black takes on d4 first, and then plays bishop b4 check. But he played knight c6. So he didn't play the bishop b4 move. So he played knight c6, and here I was thinking during the game and trying to understand why most players play bishop b4 check and not just play knight c6, because it looks like he can play knight c6 and then bishop b4. But this gives white an option here. So let's say, what can you play here? Yeah.
You can prevent the check by playing a3.
Yes, that's the idea. I played a3, and in this position, it's better for white to keep the bishops on the board, because usually white is trying to attack since he has the control of the center, and more pieces on the board, it's easier to attack. And you will see that this bishop was a big part of the attack in this game. So if you play this as black, you should play bishop b4 check first. But knight c6, and I played a3. Now he played bishop e7, bishop d3 first. Of course, he cannot take on d4 because you just take. And if he takes with the queen, you have the typical bishop b5 discovery check that wins the queen. So he cannot do that. So he played castle. And here I cannot castle, because if I do that, then I would just lose the pawn, because he just takes the pawn, because I don't have any discovery checks now. So I have to play bishop b2. And now if I can just castle, then I think I have a very nice position, because I have good development, control of the center. So black needs to do something here. And he did. He played queen a5 check. Now I want you to spend some time here, maybe a few minutes, just to think, what should white do here? I have a few options here. My king is under check. I can go queen d2, exchange the queens. I can go knight d2, or perhaps I can move my king. So what do you think is the best continuation here for white? Because, I'm trying to fight for advantage here. Again, choices: queen d2, knight d2, or move the king somewhere. Yes?
I'm looking at king e2.
King e2. Well, you could do that, but I think moving the king on e2 is going to be a little bit risky, because at some point there could be some variations where bishop a6 comes with the check. In general, it feels like king on e2 will be a little bit vulnerable here. And he goes rook d8. What else you can try to do here? Knight d2. You could play knight d2, but it seems like now the piece is going back, and then you lose time. So you lose some tempos by knight d2. So it's not really ideal to play knight d2 in this position, because you have the knight on a nice position. So if you could play knight d2, but I didn't like it too much. So now we have two more options, right? So I need to choose between these two moves. Play queen d2, try to go to an endgame where you might have a slight advantage, or go king f1. So what would you do here?
King f1.
King f1. Yeah, I think king f1 it's a more fun move to play. Queen d2, I could play, but I'm not even sure if that endgame white really has anything. Because queen d2, he will probably capture. If I take with the king, just b6, bishop b7. Black doesn't have any weaknesses, so I think overall maybe it's just about equal. So rook d8, bishop b6, bishop b7. So that's why it was kind of a not a very difficult decision for me to play the king f1 move, which I did. But of course, now the game is going to be very sharp, because I lost my turn to castle, and he's going to try to do some ideas. So from here on, he's going to be trying to create some positional threats, and you have to find the proper moves to stop these threats. Like in this position, he plays b6. What's the idea behind this move? What is it trying to do? Yes?
Bishop a6.
Absolutely. He's trying to play bishop a6, exchanging the bishop. And if you can manage to exchange this bishop and quickly put his rook on c8 and d8, it's going to be extremely difficult to organize an attack. Because, black is very solid here. He has no weaknesses on the king side. So without my light square bishop, my attacking chances are going to be very, very little. So that's why I don't want to allow bishop a6. How can we prevent that? Absolutely. Queen e2. First we prevent the move bishop a6. Now he plays bishop b7. Okay, so I played king f1, put the queen on e2, but again, he just wants to go rook ac8, rook fd8. And how do I attack here? What do you think? Yes? No? Okay. So what do you think? You need to spend some time and come up with a plan. I would like a plan here. I don't want just a one move. A plan. A good plan here. Because I spent some time and I think this is the right plan in this position. Plan?
Yeah. You can kill your king and then move the rooks to the open files.
Well, you could, but you know, fianchetto to the king here, it's a little bit also, you know. I mean, you could do that, but then he puts his rooks on c8 and d8, and I don't think you know it's going to be much advantage. So you need to, if you want, you need something sharper a little bit, okay? Because it's a lot of moves, you know, king f1, g3, king g2. It takes time. Any other ideas or a plan for white here? Yes.
I'm trying to figure out if I can trap his queen. It's fairly tight over there, but I'm not sure I've got quite enough to do it. Knight to d2 was the...
You could, but I think if we start, if we try to trap the queen, then I think, see,
It looks like this.
yeah, see, like, I mean, this is not very good for us. Rooks are not playing, the king is there, so it's, we can't just now start focusing on trapping the queen because we're probably not going to be able to trap him. We can try to maybe move him away, but I don't know if we're really going to gain much out of it.
I think your plan needs to be close the center and do a kingside pawn storm.
Well, the thing is, close the center. I have to be very careful pushing any of my pawns here, because you push e5, you create light square
But if you
weaknesses.
can stop f5 at some point, or even e5.
I don't think he wants to play a5 right now. That's not very good.
Well,
So,
no, it's not good there, but I'm just saying, I'm just thinking in the future that.
yeah. Well, again, whatever you do, you have to do kind of quickly because we don't have too much time. He's going to put the rooks together, then he's going to be applying more pressure, and there might be some danger of, you know, later on in the game, maybe rook c2. So, I mean, I don't have so much time here. I have to, yeah. I think without this move, it's very hard to fight for advantage here for white. This move is really necessary here. See, if you look at the position of the black king, he doesn't have that many pieces around it. So he has his bishop on e7, but he doesn't have that many pieces. So if I can try to bring one more piece into the attack and try to open up my bishops with the potential jump of the knight and queen, then I can have lots of pieces. I could have possibly 5 pieces attacking here. So, and he only has one defender. Yeah. Any other ideas? Even if you're not so sure, it's okay. We can discuss, you know. D5. Well, the thing is, without your rooks in the game, you play D5, you will open up the position. And D5, I think he could just take. Take.
H4, rook H3, and rook G3.
Correct. Very good. H4. Not only this is kind of, not I'm trying to just threaten anything. My main idea here is to go rook H3, rook G3. This is the main idea, to get the rook into the game. The rook is going to be very active on G3 here. And this is a kind of a typical idea when you lose your turn to castle. And this is one of the ideas that you can use to push the pawn, get the rook up to the side. Okay?
So you don't have to worry about him trying to create counterplay in the center, though, like immediately?
But which move can he play to create counterplay? For example, if you try f5, this could be loses.
Yeah,
This is loses. To take. Who can find a move, winning move here quickly?
Okay, it's
Huh? D5 first, yeah? The bishop is protected. So first we push the pawn to attack him, and if he takes, bishop c4. Okay? So he can play f5 right away. So he played rook ac8. So normal move, developing the rook. I follow it up with my idea, rook h3. And now knight b8. Strange looking move, but concrete idea. He wants to go bishop a6 and exchange the light square bishops. If he would have played rook f8, I would have just gone rook g3, and then I have a very strong threat of d5. So this looks, I think, very dangerous for black. So he plays knight b8. Now he wants to go bishop a6, exchange the bishops, perhaps also again play queen a6. If he exchanges the queens, then I don't have much. So again, bishop a6 and then exchange queens, then he can go rook c2 maybe. So now again, you have to find the best move here. See, time is everything in this position. So of course you can play the rook g3 move, but you have something better. Now,
E5.
e5.
95. Knight E5 is what I'm looking at.
See, in these positions, our rook is ready to go rook g3, right? But if you go rook g3, you don't have a threat. What you need to do is you need to make a move, so when you go rook g3, you have a very strong threat. We can't just attack him with the rook on g3. The main idea is to have d5, right? So we want to make sure we open up the bishops first. So I go here, d5. Because in some point he needs to watch out the capture also. He took. And now rook g3, now threatening on g7, and now he played f6. Now there are two options here. One is to play g6, and one is to play f6. g6 looks very unnatural because it weakens the position, and there are some nice lines in this situation. You play ed. He goes here, attacking the rook. You go knight g5. He takes. And who can find the winning move now?
Queen h5.
All right. Queen h5. Threatening checkmate on h7. He has to take. So as you can see, we sacrifice the rook on g3 and the queen on h5, but we have a checkmate. So I didn't see this during the game, but I'm sure there might be some other options too. But g6 looks really weakening, so it's natural move is f6 for a human to play f6. Now again, see these positions. The reason I want to show you this game because positions like this are kind of hard to play also for the player who is attacking. Because here, for example, I have many different moves to choose from. e5, ed, h5, h6. There's so many different things you can try to do here. But you have to really find the most precise move here. I was considering all these moves here, but then when I found the move that I played, I realized now my attack is getting stronger. Because I'm trying to make sure all my pieces are involved into attack. Okay?
Is it like Spires Lombard Wave and Knight d4?
Yeah, knight d4. Knight d4. Now, bishops are in the game, rook is in the game, but we have the queen and the knight. They're not really participating yet. So once we bring these pieces into the game too, then it's going to be very difficult for him. So I go knight to d4. Now, threatening to play knight f5, putting pressure on the bishop, also on h6, on g7. So he takes. So he just keeps on taking the pawns. He took on d5, now he takes on e4. Now, No, you can't capture that. The bishop is there. You could take bishop takes, but again, a strong move needs to be played first. Okay? Strong move needs to be played first. Huh? Absolutely. Bring another piece into the game with tempo. Now threatening queen g7 mate. So he plays rook f7.
Bishop c4.
The rook is on c8. Rook can take it, so I can't do that. So okay, for a moment, okay, I'm down 2 pawns, and looks like I don't even have a threat yet. Seems like black is holding. Knight f5 I could play, but I'm not sure if maybe he could take the bishop. It's messy. Yeah, knight g7, maybe. Yeah, it's possible, but I think the move in the game it's a little better. Yeah.
I want to do bishop e4 because his back rank is now weak.
Excellent, excellent. Bishop takes e4. Now he cannot take the bishop because of queen c8. And now if he goes queen a6 check, I can just simply come back, bishop d3. This was a very important move. First, I didn't see this bishop d3 move. So I was a bit worried because I thought, maybe I don't have so much. But when I realized he checks me, I can go back bishop d3 and gain a crucial tempo, and then I go knight f5. Then it's very strong. So now, I took the pawn, and now really all my pieces are ready for the attack. So now I have a threat. Bishop takes b7. And it's not so easy for him to defend against that threat. And again, he cannot take the bishop because the c8 is hanging. So here, he spent a lot of time, but position is already really bad for him. So he decided to play h5, trying to deflect my queen from g4. But okay, this move now weakens the position. So what do you do now after h5? Yes, queen a6. Oh, yeah, I think they might have the move wrong, actually. I played here. Anyway, so I played queen e6, but they have, for some reason, they put queen f5 in the database. So I played queen e6, and he is forced to take...
I think you could play push insert. Yeah. Not new variation insert.
So now he has to take on e4 because I have this bishop g6 threat, and so many threats now he can't do anything, so he took.
What's the counterplay there to queen g6? Because that looks to me like...
Queen g6 he will take.
Oh, just take
Queen g6 he takes. He takes. That's why.
same result.
So he took because he couldn't see anything else, so he took. I took on c8. Now b8 is also hanging. He cannot play rook f8 because I go queen e6 check back. This just loses because then I take the bishop. I'm just up a rook. So he realized he's losing here, so I said, okay, I will just go for this line, maybe some time pressure, create some threat. So I took. Now I'm up a rook. All I need to do is just consolidate my position. Okay? So, but he plays queen d2. There's still some tricks. So you have to play accurately. And here is a very important moment in a game. Because, you know, if I play bishop c3, he has this bishop d3 check. Again, probably I have some other ways to win also here. But what's the most precise move here? Took me some time to find this move, but once I found this move, I realized I'm just winning. And really no counterplay. So I would like you to spend some time, because it's not an easy move to find. You have to really calculate some lines. Because he wants to take on b2, and then take on d4. a1 is hanging, so... white to play? He's threatening to take my bishop. So you have to see his threat. Yeah, he wants to take the bishop. Bishop c3 is a good move also, but he has the check, so I probably gonna win exchange in that line.
Can you play rook e1?
Rook e1. Yeah, I think that's also winning. Yeah, rook d1 is also winning. I think he has to play bishop d3. Then I will get a position with the extra piece. Yes, should be winning.
Wait, rook e1, can you just take on e6?
Rook takes e4.
And then queen to a all1.
Okay, maybe something like that he can do. Yeah, queen a1 check. Okay, I could probably even just go back rook e1, queen takes d4, queen takes. I cannot go queen takes a7 because of bishop c5. Check king e2, check king f. Yeah, so maybe he. Yeah, rook e1, queen b2 takes queen a1 check, and king e2 still queen b2. I think, yeah, maybe something like this here, so it's not so clear. Probably still winning for white somewhere there, but the move in the game is really strong.
Play rook b3 and then queen g3?
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, I'm up a rook, so there are many ways to try to win. But I like you to find a move in the game because I think it's the strongest, and really doesn't. It really ends the game. I think game ended like in just a few more moves here. But you really have to calculate what's going to happen if you make this move.
I saw what you did, but I forgot. I remember watching it.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah. So in this kind of positions, when opponent makes a move attacking your pieces, what you need to do is, you know, of course, natural instinct is to start thinking about defense right away. But I want you to look at the move that you can make and you attack his piece. Okay? So what can you do to actually, forget that he's attacking your bishop. You make a move to attack one of his pieces. Queen e8 now. Now we attack the rook. He cannot go back because we can take on e7. Very strong move. He played bishop d5. So, but now if he takes, this is the line you needed to calculate. It's not very long. It's just a couple of moves. Take. Now threatening mate. So it's funny. In this position, it looks like, you know, king is exposed, two bishops, queen. It should be something very bad, you know, for white here. But actually, he doesn't have anything here. Because the knight on d4 is doing a really good job actually guarding very important squares. And he doesn't have time to take because of the mate. So he can give one more check. And I simply come up. And now the bishop is hanging, and again I'm threatening checkmate on g7, so he cannot do anything. Check, takes, and he's losing. So after I found the queen e8, I realized if he takes, I just take on f7, queen a1, I just simply walk my king to e3. So he has no choice. He played bishop d5, and now can you find the winning idea? Again, there must be a few ways to win here, at least.
I know what you did now. Now I remember.
Yeah, it was a nice. It was nice finish.
Bishop c3 is too easy.
Got it?
I haven't got it completely calculated, but everything looks well.
Okay.
Rook takes on g7.
Excellent. Rook takes g7.
Just overwhelming there.
Yeah.
It's going to come up.
He has to take back with the king, because if he takes with the rook, then we just take on h5 with the check. He goes back, then we also take the bishop with the check, and then just probably queen b3 and rook d1, so it's winning. So he has to take no choice. Now I was up a rook, so I gave the rook back. Follow it up.
Knight e5.
Knight f5 check.
f5.
Now, if he goes to g6, then you just take on e7 with the check, so you win. So he has to go here. And now, you don't need to do anything really complicated here. So you just take the bishop, and you're threatening checkmate in 2. So if he takes on e7, I just go queen e7 check. So he really cannot do anything. So now his last chance, he played queen bishop takes g2 check. Last attempt here. But again, you still have to be accurate. And I made the move instantly because I calculated this bishop g2 move. So what do you do? King g1. You don't want to take this. If you take, it's going to, you might be able to actually make a draw. So it's rook g7 check and some threats. So you play king g1, and he immediately resigned because now I have queen f7 threat, queen g8, queen g6. So he cannot do anything. Okay? So it was, he played like a rare line in the opening, but he didn't play the bishop before move, which allowed me to play a3. Okay, now let's do a couple of endgame positions. Okay. Let's take a look at this opposite color endgame. What do you know about the opposite color bishops?
Usually a draw, very draw.
Very drawish. That's one. Very drawish. Sometimes even two extra pawns not guarantee you the win. Like for example, same color bishops, 2 extra pawns, it's almost always a win. But there are many positions with opposite color. It's a draw. Like for example, this position. Do you think white can win this, or with the proper play, black can make a draw here? Draw.
I'd go for the win, but I don't know.
Any of you knew this?
I wouldn't accept a draw. But
Any of you know how to hold this position? What you need to do to make a draw? No? Okay, that's good. This is a you can get this position. This, in your games you can reach this position. So it's important to know how to defend this position. This is a draw, okay? But you have to know what to do to make a draw, okay? If you just sit and wait in this position, you will lose. Like for example, strategy like this, if you don't do anything, eventually you're going to lose. he's going to advance and move the king back, push the pawn to e5, king goes back, and then it's probably already losing. Okay? So what you need to do in this position is he's going to try to advance his pawns. He's going to try to play g5, f4, e4 eventually. So you need to put this pawn on g5 here first. So let's say king f3, you put the pawn on g5. Very important to put the pawn on g5 here. Now, in order to win, white is going to try to create two connected pass pawns. Right now he has one pass pawn, and he can create the two connected pass pawns. Okay, so he's going to have to play king e4, for example. Now you don't want to allow him to come here, so you go king f6. And now he plays f4. You take. Now he can take. It's more natural to take with the g pawn towards the center, but we'll take a look at both ways he takes. It doesn't really matter, because if you know how to hold this position, then it doesn't matter for you which way he takes. Let's take a look if he takes with the g pawn. Now, in this position, you don't really have to do much. You just have to make sure you keep the bishop on this pawn. Okay? For now, you keep the pressure on this pawn. So you just see the squares, you just go here. For now. So he can't really move the king, go forward, so he has to stay with the pawn, right? I just the same thing. Now he goes here. Now he has a threat. He wants to play this move. So for example, if you play this move here, now you could lose. Okay? So now in this position, you need to control the e5 square, because you already have the king controlling it. So if you control with the bishop, remember, if you can sacrifice your bishop for 2 pawns, it's going to be a draw. So that's why a lot of these endgames is draw at the end, because, you know, if it's 1 pawn versus 3, you exchange 1 and then you sacrifice the bishop, because in endgame it's possible to sacrifice the bishop for 2 pawns. So now, if he plays f5, you just put the bishop on e5, he can never win. And he can come here, and again, you just keep the pressure on the f4 pawn. First you put the pressure on the e3 pawn, and now you put the pressure on f4 pawn. He can't do anything. So eventually, in some point, he's going to have to push, because he can't go away because it takes. And now he pushes, take, and you make a draw. Okay? This strategy works. So like right now, the pawns are on the 4th rank. It will also work if his pawns are on the 5th rank. Okay? But let's say if his pawns reach the 6th rank for white, 3rd rank for black, then you cannot hold with this strategy. So I'll show you why. So let's say we go here. Well, let's take a look at the other way if he captures. It will be also useful to see. Let's say he takes this way. Now, we can't really stop him pushing the g pawn, so we put the pressure on f4. So he pushes. We go here. Now, very important, in this position now, you pressure on f4, and if you place f5, which move you have to play here in order to make a draw? Bishop d8, yes. Bishop d8. Now you're putting pressure on g5. Now you're threatening to take, and of course g6, you just blockade bishop f6. And if he goes f6, what do you do? Sacrifice. And you make a draw. So this is the last position. Pawns are on the 5th rank that you can still make a draw. Now let's take a look if we, for example, in this position, let's play. Let's go back to the main line. So let's say we actually okay. So let's say we reach this position. Now it looks like it's same kind of position. You have the same concept, but here you're not going to be able to make a draw here. Not because his king can come in or anything. It's just because your bishop doesn't have many squares to go to. So you don't have another square here to go to keep the pressure and also control the e7.
Isn't this a draw because black can play bishop c9?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if there was a square, yeah, if there was a c9 square, yes, you're right. That would have been a draw. But unfortunately, after bishop b5, so let's see. We make it white to move this position. He plays bishop b5, and now black is in Zugzwang. If he moves the bishop away, you play e7, e8. You win the game. So he has to move the king away, so he cannot really keep the control. If he can keep the control of the e7 square, it's going to be a draw, but he can't. So again, remember, if the pawns are on the 6th, two connected pass pawn, you're going to lose. On the 5th, on the 4th, 3rd, it's all draw. Okay, if you're trying to defend, because now he's going to go here, and then he's going to push. Okay, so it's not very difficult, but you have to remember the way that you defend. Okay. Now let me change the position a little bit. A little bit different pawn structure, but idea is pretty much the same. So you're playing with the black pieces here. So you know, in order to win, you just have to advance your pawns. Okay, that's what you have to try to do. Now you're playing with black. Which move you have to play here? Because if you don't play this move, you could lose this game. You could lose. But this move will make it easier for you to make a draw. Which move is necessary?
F5.
Huh?
F5.
If bishop is already on f5.
You're kind of dyslexic. There you go.
d5, yeah. Exactly. You need to exchange this pawn, because when he has less pawns, the idea of drawing by sacrificing the bishop for 2 pawns is going to work. So first we play this move. He plays b4. Continue. Let's see if you can hold this position now. Continue.
Pawn takes.
Absolutely. Liquidate. He takes.
Bishop to c6.
E6.
You have to look at the notation. What's the correct move here? Which pawn we need to put the pressure on now?
The one on the white square.
Absolutely. Check. You could go, but better. You don't need to go to c5. If you go to c5, there, he can check and starts pushing the pawn with the check. You could lose. Anyway, you're not going to be able to blockade these pawns with a king. Our idea is to get to the right position where we can sacrifice, right? So we go to the light square, okay? Now he goes here. Now let's see, what do you do here?
I was going to say b7 because of Drew wall.
So what's the correct move here?
Sorry. Bishop d7.
You could play bishop d7, but remember, you have to put the pressure on the c pawn here, right? You want to force him to push. Bishop d7, he could
Oh, okay.
shuffle, move the king, maybe try to do something. It's still a draw, but
So bishop f7.
bishop f7, very important bishop f7, because if you play bishop g8, it's a problem. He pushes. Because we no longer have the bishop to e8 move. And in these positions, you're not going to be able to defend from the side, from this angle, because now he can try to improve his king this way. Okay, so this is not a good way to defend. So you probably lose here. So that's why you have to make sure you go bishop here. Keep the pressure on, okay? And don't go to the last rank anyway. It's not a good idea, because you have less squares to go to when you put the bishop on the last rank. In this kind of positions, always put the bishop on a square that has more squares to go to. And now he has to push. And now again, if you allow this move, you lose. Unless you can take that pawn. So now you defend from which square? not from here again, bishop e8. And now he goes here. Only move that will make a draw is, see, if you didn't have this move, you would lose, because now he's controlling this square. You have to go away, then he pushes c6, he wins. So you really have this square. So that's why you can make a draw on the 5th rank. That's the last one. Okay. After that, you're not going to be able to do it. Yes.
Before he pushes the c pawn to c5, if he brings his king forward at that point, that's really my response.
You just, again, you just keep the pressure on the pawn. Yeah, just don't put your bishop on the last rank. That's all. Remember that. Don't put the bishop on the last rank. You just go back and forth. e6, s7, e6, f7. Eventually, he can't just activate the king. He'll drop a pawn. So he has to go here. Then you go here. As soon as he pushes, then you go bishop e8. Okay? You have to defend, but also attack the pawn. You can't just defend the pawn. You have to make sure your bishop is also attacking the pawn. It's active defense, because you want to threaten something. b6, again, you put the bishop on c6. Can't do anything. So he's going to try to do something. You just go here. He goes here, you go here. And c6 takes. Very important to know this endgame, because you can get this position. And if you don't know that, for example, on the 5th rank it's still a draw, on the 6th it's lost, then you wouldn't know the way to defend. So I hope you understand now how to defend positions like this when you're down 2 pawns. Remember, you exchange 1 pawn first, and then you defend against the pawns, but you have to make sure the bishop is active, attacking the pawns. Okay? So again, connected pass pawns are very important. Okay? But without it, it's like, for example, position like this. It's going to be more winning chances if the pawn, let's say, is on E file or on F file. Further away is from the other pawn, it's more winning chances. Okay? And for example, in this position, if let's say he has 2 pawns, so here, let's say, okay, how can you make a draw here? What would be the easiest way for you to make a draw here? What do you need to do here?
I would offer you a draw.
I probably take it, yeah.
That's why I was using it.
Yeah. But do you know what you need to do here to make a draw?
No, what's the plan?
The plan, yeah.
You want to guard one of the pawns with the king and the other one with the bishop.
But it's very important which one, yeah?
You want the pawn on the A file to be guarded with your king.
Pawn on A file be guarded. Why?
Because that pawn is going to promote in a white square.
Okay.
And
Way around.
well, I was thinking, if your king gets pushed back on the H file, you get checked with the black bishop. And
Well, it's actually,
So your
yeah.
king can get in front of the pawn, and the bishop can just keep moving back and forth.
Well,
The question is, if you sacrifice your bishop for one of the pawns, which one do you want to sacrifice?
yeah.
The A pawn or the H pawn?
well,
There's only one correct answer.
the H pawn,
And why is that?
because you can't get checked on A1.
Yeah, you want to leave him with the A pawn.
Yeah, you have to know that, for example, if you reach a position with your king on A8 here, let's say we go here. Let's say we,
Bishop's coming first.
yeah, bishop, let's say he goes here, we go here. And, okay, he's pushing. We go here. You put the king here. You can sacrifice your bishop for this pawn when he plays h7. Then he has a pass pawn, but he has what is called the wrong color bishop. With a dark square bishop and the pawn on a5, he cannot win this position. But your king has to be on b7 on a8 in this position. If it's not there, then he might be able to win. So remember that. So this kind of, same thing if the pawn was on g or f file. That's why it's much easier to draw when the pawns are on a or h file here, okay? You just have to remember, you have to know that this position is a wrong color bishop. You put the king there. Let's say he goes here. I don't know if everyone is familiar, but this position, white cannot win because he cannot move the king from the white corner here. So it's going to be a suksavank. I mean, he's going to stalemate. Stalemate, yeah? So let's take a look again. No, it's going to be a stalemate, so it goes here. So he's going to get closer, but see, this is stalemate already. So he can't really do much. So he can move, check, and you go to the corner, and he cannot win.
Ginger
Okay.
used to make a proposition that he could queen his pawn. That he bet you. And then he'd queen it. He'd take it, but he'd queen it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I heard about that,
You
yeah.
lose those bets 'cause he could queen his pawn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, good. So some opposite color queens gambit decline game against Gurevich, and also some opposite color bishop, which is very important to know.